Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and frequent guest hosts Hollis Lewis and Lisa Odie, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join the crew as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of the sports life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. And by the all-new historic Coyer Diner in downtown Charleston. Online at CoyerDiner.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and I have in the building today, I got my co-host Hollis Lewis.
Hello, hello.
And the queen, Miss Lisa Odie.
Hello.
So, it's been an interesting kind of a week, I guess, even into the whole sports.
I thought you were going to say because I wasn't here last week and you missed me.
No.
Oh,
we didn't miss you. No, yes, we did.
Go ahead.
But our hometown colleges, our major colleges, I'm going to make the case, Hollis, that where are we heading? Where do you think our future is going to be with one or both of them, whichever one, if you want to cover them both?
About Marshall and
WVU.
Well, I think Marshall, I think they're going to get it together. They played, they went to Louisiana Lafayette, ULL, and they played them tough. It was a double overtime game that kind of, things just fell apart. I think they just ran out of gas. It was actually a phenomenal game. So I think they're going to be all right once they really get into the rhythm and get into conference play. Yeah, which they already are in, but I really think they'll be all right. Again, they probably won't win the conference this year, but I think they'll end up having a winning record, at least in conference. Now, WVU, on the other hand, it's just – and I tell people this all the time. Regardless of who they're playing, that Big 12 is just – number one, it's just uneventful. It's just not something that you get up for. It's one of them things where I think more than strategy, more than even players sometimes, I think, Rich Rod or whoever the coach there, their job is to manage the emotions. How do we get up to play? Who did we play? We play Utah?
Utah.
Yeah.
Utah.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
I mean, no, and that's not a slight.
Good this year, though.
But that's not a slight to Utah, but they just don't have a history.
Well,
it's not like you're
that,
playing like Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And then next week you got to go to BYU. So it's just like these teams just aren't. It's no connectivity as far as historical reference.
And you know what? And Hollis, I'm glad you said that because. And I'll just jump to let's just say going back to my days in Minnesota, the thing that you knew you were going to play the Packers. You know what I'm saying? Like you knew.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying. You knew.
Just for example, we'll just throw the Packers in there, but that's okay.
You're going to play the Packers. You're going to play the Bears. You knew who you were going to play, and when you got on the field, whether it be home or away, there was the excitement of that being a rivalry. When you don't have that connection, to be honest, I don't really know.
It's just difficult. We've seen WVU this year. When they had that emotion, when they're playing Pitt, we seen what can happen when that emotion matches that talent and that acumen that they have on the field. But outside of that, these games are just emotionless. The fans aren't necessarily – I mean, as a WVU fan, of course, you're excited to see WVU play. But far as you're not excited to see BYU, you're not excited to see Utah, you're not excited to see Ohio University.
It changes your whole tailgate mentality.
Yeah, you're not.
Your whole tailgate mentality.
I'm with you definitely on that part. It's way easier to get up for a rival like Pitt than it is to, when Utah rolls into town. But in all fairness to the team, earlier in the week, and I was telling you this, Hollis, before we came on, that Rich Rod had said in a press conference he had like 8 offensive players questionable. And he knew his starting quarterback, Nico Marchio, was out. He has a foot issue. He's in Colorado getting an evaluation, and who knows when he'll be back. Yeah. So basically, you have already these guys that are questionable were already inexperienced.
True.
And you're replacing inexperienced guys with more inexperienced
guys. Yeah.
Maybe even less experienced.
It's just it's a terrible kind of a thing they're going through up there right now, with or without the rivalry. I don't even know if that would have been Pitt. Even I don't know if they had enough players on that field that were experienced enough to lead them to a victory like they did that week.
Okay, so let me ask the two of you all. Do you think that the fan base, somebody may not have known that until you said it, right? That
right.
The injuries
Probably
and all
not.
that. Will the fan base be patient enough? Is that enough for an excuse to say, okay, we'll give you two or three more games to get some guys back? Are the WVU fans that patient?
I mean, you got to be patient. I mean, come on. I mean, I know
you're a player.
I know you're in the fandom. I get it. You're a fan of the team. You want to see your team do well. But, I mean, when you got 80-plus players, a whole new coaching staff, and like I said, you're playing in the Big 12, you never know what's what, you got to give Rich Rod 2-3 years. You have to be. I don't think you cannot not be patient. You have to be patient.
I think I totally agree with that statement as well. But I think the issue with Rich Rod, he was already a controversial hire. The way he left West Virginia years ago to go to Michigan, those diehard fans still have a bad taste in their bad thought in their mind and taste in their mouth about the way he left. And there was already this divide in the fans, the people that wanted him back and the people that didn't. It wasn't lukewarm. You either really wanted him back or you didn't want him back at all.
Fact.
And so right now, I mean, fair or not, I mean, I don't think it's fair, but there's already talk about, if he's not in the hot seat, he sure is walking toward it. You know what I mean?
But I guess to that point,
which isn't fair.
From the fans, and I'll say to the fans, who else was going to take this job?
Amen.
Like in all seriousness, the person outside of Rich Rod, outside of maybe a WVU alum, that was going to take this job was going to, for the sole purpose to take the job, build it up, win the conference, and go get paid at another spot. Rich Rod is the only, I ain't going to say legit hire, but he's the only name, quote unquote, hire.
Alumni.
Yeah, that's going to take this job, and probably he ain't going, this is Rich Rod's probably last stop.
Right.
He's committed to building this up. So I say from that, you have to give him some time.
And I that's a great point. And I'll add to it, to the fact that I'm not sure anybody was really overly interested in taking that job because they knew it may take a while. If you give Rich Rod the time, and if you're patient, okay, I think there's a turnaround. But here's what bothers me, or here's my question or concern. Every time, let's say, Hollis, I bring you in from anywhere. Obviously you're going to have been playing somewhere. I'm bringing you in. You come in, I start you, and you just play well. How am I keeping you? See, because the problem with rebuilding, it's
rename
also,
your basketball. To Hope Stadium.
You still have to keep the players who are shining. And the players that are shining are they loyal enough to WVU to say, I don't care, I'm going to stay here all the way through my tenure?
Probably not. But again, I think that's another problem that's perpetuated because, not only just, the state of college athletics, but I think that's a problem because we're not in the ACC. I really think until we get in the ACC, this is WVU football, and people don't have to get used to it. There's going to be some good years, there's going to be some bad years. It's going to just be, I think across the board, it's going to be mediocre. We have to get into the ACC because, to your point, if I'm a player and if I'm, doing my thing and if I'm, all conference, all American, all that stuff, why would I play? I'm going to go to the ACC. I want to go to the SEC. This is not an attractive conference from the standpoint the WVU. We have to get to the ACC, and until we get into the ACC, I think we're going to just have these perpetual problems. Do
you think that's a reality? Do you think that there's a chance at any time? Didn't they try that in the past when the Big East dissolved and they couldn't get
definitely.
in?
But I think, I think it could. Let me just say this. I don't know far as prognosis. I can't even say that word. trying to figure out the future. But what I will say is that our athletic director and our president and our coaches, they have to be vibing for it. They got to be thinking about it. How do we do this? Somebody's got to be strategically planning for the next couple of years and say, how do we get into the ACC? Because I think that's going to just, again, just the energy around WVU, it's going to get like it was big in the Big East. You know, Big East years, they were awesome years.
They were.
Every week in conference play, it's Maryland, it's Pitt, it's VTech, it's North Carolina. You had Miami. You had those teams that you just knew in those games that you had to watch.
Are you saying, okay, and I think what you're saying is some of the teams that we're playing, or I shouldn't say we because I'm not a WVU, but the West Virginia's playing, we don't know about who they are, not necessarily who they are, but they're not anybody that we really want to beat or want that we.
I think it's travel too, don't you? I mean, they get
100%.
exhausted.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I mean, you know, to
100%.
get from point A to point B is ridiculous.
I mean, like you said,
every weekend.
We just played Utah and got beat really bad. Now you got to fly all the way
Although
to
it didn't
BYU.
affect Utah.
Yeah, it didn't affect them. But now you got to fly all the way to BYU. And the thing about it is, if you're in Morgantown, that means you're driving 45 minutes an hour to Pittsburgh to get on the plane.
Right.
So it's type of travel, you know, going halfway across the country. These ain't like road games where you're just going to Vodtech, you can take the bus.
And
it's just the difference.
And you're not supposed to quote lose to Utah. Not because Utah's
Well,
not a
they're a
good
pretty
team.
good team.
No, I was
Utah
going
was
to say
ranked at
they're
one
good team.
point.
But no, I'm not saying I don't mean because they're not that, but because in my head, the way I see this, I'm thinking if I'm a WVU fan and I don't necessarily I'm not paying attention to Utah, who they play, but all of a sudden we've got them on our schedule, right?
Well, in your conference.
Yeah,
I think,
but I'm saying, so now we're playing them. I don't think we're supposed to lose to them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if my thoughts of a WVU football fans, I think that they have always had a higher expectation, whether or not the team could meet it or not. They've always had a higher expectation, and the whole Penn State games, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
They believed back in the day that they should win those games. And again, me just being me, not paying any attention to Utah, thinking that they would lose to Utah, I would say no, they wouldn't. That they wouldn't lose to them. That should be a game that they should win.
Well, but all I know is they are 0-2 in Big 12 play, and these two games they have not even been in. They have not for a second been part of the game, and that's the scary part. Because even though the Big 12 is not a good fit for WVU, in my opinion, like yours, Hollis, but it's a tough conference. I mean, there's no cakewalks in it, and I just don't know unless this team gets healthier as the year goes on. It's going to be tough for them to win some games.
Yeah, and just looking at that, I mean, because we talk a lot, you know, NIL, we talk a lot about transfer portals, but just looking at college football overall outside of WVU, there's been a lot of great parity. Just, you know, looking at the scores, looking at who's winning, looking who's losing. So I think that, you know, if we can survive this year without getting too banged up, keep some of that core pieces, and then get some other transfers coming in, I think WVU has a shot to turn it around, but it's not going to be this year.
Can you keep the best play? Let's say the top 8.
I think you'll keep some. I mean, like I said, you'll keep some guys. Some guys are going to go. Some guys are going to stay. But you have to. Again, it's one of them situations where you have to recruit them guys. You got to be almost recruiting them now. And these are guys within your locker room. You got to be recruiting them guys, your core pieces, to figure out who that core is. Like you said, Lisa said, throughout this, you know, this next, you know, 5 or 6 ball games, and then you got to be looking out to who possibly can get in the next couple months. And
I found this interesting, and maybe Matt can help me out with this one, our producer, but. There was a press conference earlier maybe it was this week or last week. Might have been last week or the week before is what I meant, not this week. It's Monday. But anyway, it was about his recruiting tactics. He wants to focus on high school players. Somewhere I read that, and that he wants to develop those players so that they become, you know, a part of WVU lore, like that would be their first and last stop. I'm not sure if that's a good strategy. In his mind, he feels like, it's the way that not total high school kids, but he wants to focus on them.
I actually think that's not a bad idea. Again, it's one of them situations in which will he have the time to do that?
I know
because
I
really don't think it's a bad idea.
Go.
Because if you can get you 20, 30 high school guys that are legit dudes, 3, 4, 5-star guys, and you can develop them over a 2, 3, maybe 4-year period, that sets us up in the future to be pretty good. So I think, and again, and you also have to look at it from the financial standpoint, because to your point, we're not Georgia, we're not Alabama, we're not going to have the resources to cut 5 and 6 and 7 figure deals just throughout our roster.
Yeah.
So high school guys, from a financial standpoint, may be the way to go.
And that philosophy. Go ahead.
The quote that you were talking about, what he was saying there was because they had such a late start on recruitment.
Okay.
They didn't get a chance to really get a lot of high school.
So
players
he wants to start focusing.
He said next year will be when they'll have more high school players in, hopefully.
So
but now, will they?
Thank you.
Will he be able to entice them to come to WVU if they don't? Let's say they don't have a great season. Can he entice them? Is he going to have to entice them with the NIL, or can he entice them with the school and the
maybe with ties? Like maybe focus on players that their families have ties to the school. That might be a route that might work for him. Money definitely always works. It just depends on how much he has of it.
See, and that's what scares me about Marshall and WVU in the whole recruiting process, and or the getting other players that are playing now. So you're not getting high schools, because high school recruiting is a challenge now because you don't have time to wait on that guy to develop. But
But that tells me he's committed. Like, he's not going anywhere if he's thinking about recruiting high school kids. Like, he's not like trying to get portal kids and JUCO kids. He wants to develop, and that tells me, he's like you said, Hollis, he's there for the long haul.
Yeah, that's for the future.
He's not going
anywhere
else.
There. I think he's for the long haul, but
if the fans will keep him.
But will the fan base keep him?
Man, they don't got a choice. I just don't see that you have a choice. I mean, not to say they aren't good coaches out there, and I'm sure there are people to come in and make some things happen. But for the long haul, if you're looking for a guy to be here the next 5-10 years, I mean, I don't know who else wants to retire here. He wants to be hugging. He wants to be kneeling. He wants to. This is the final stop. This is it.
Yeah.
So he's in a position where his back against the wall. He has to make this work. This is the legacy.
And do you think that's why Marshall wanted Tony Gibson? Is it because of the ties?
I think.
I mean,
so.
That's the only thing that we have is. As far as we don't have the money to pay coaches like other schools, you want somebody that might loyalty.
Yeah, who might be stuck on the loyalty and the desire to change the image of the team to what they want it to be, over money, because they don't necessarily quote need the money. Now they may want it, but they don't necessarily quote need it. That's not their goal. Their goal is to define a school that they love.
These are legacy dudes.
Yes,
so both of these coaches are legacy guys.
Yes.
They want to turn this around. They want to win championships. They want to have the lure of those universities. And I think, West Virginia schools, that's what we have, and we got to make that work, because, like I said, we're not going to be able to pay you what other coaches are getting paid.
And I would say to the fan base, you have to understand that. I mean, you said and done. For sure. Because the reality of this is you have West Virginia coaches coaching West Virginia teams.
Right.
And trying to make them the best that they can be. Every kid on that team want that kid to be successful, some form of fashion, academically, athletically, both, however they can make them successful.
Sure. Well, they're both 2-3. Both teams are 2-3. So I don't know how that bodes. I mean, it is. I mean, I know it's both their first years in the positions that they're each respectively in. But like you said, most fan base, the fan base doesn't understand the logistics of what we're talking about. Yeah. The layman, just a normal day, front of the day fan.
I think the diehard fan doesn't get it.
They need to get it.
You would like to think that the diehard would get it because they understand the whole structure and because this was a big turnover. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This was a huge turnover for both of these coaches and for both of these teams.
They're starting over everywhere.
Basically everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the WVU diehard, I think they have to get it, man. Because we could say the opposite for Marshall, because Marshall's had recent success, right? Mm-hmm. They won the conference. They've kind of always been in the groove under the former head coaches, Huff and his previous coach. So I think they could probably, to that point,
been a
little bit impatient because of that. But I mean, you may not like Rich Rod, and may be emotional because you don't like kind of previously what happened, but you ain't got no choice. This is what it is.
I'll be shocked. I mean, what do you guys think? I don't think they're going bowling this year.
I mean, they hand bowl games out now.
Yeah, they
think so. You don't think they won 6 games?
I don't know.
You don't think they win 6?
I don't know.
And I know that you can get to a bowl
injuries.
in 6.
I'm telling you, I really feel like if some of these players are out indefinitely, and you've got these guys that are even more, like I said, inexperienced.
I wouldn't even have thought to even ask that question.
Why?
About I just don't see that. Like, I just from my view of where and both teams, where both teams are, like I'm not thinking bowl game.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, can you get a winning streak? Like, can you?
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean,
before bowls,
well,
I think
you only have to
win
6 games to be bowl eligible, right? And you can have a losing season.
You might, some of the bowl games. It's just the bowl games just don't have the luster. So it's like, even if you,
so you
like the thing is, like, do you even accept it? I mean, maybe you accept it because you get the extra practice. You get, like, basically, depending on what your bowl game is, you might get like 3-4 weeks extra practice.
I think you do.
You
for
even
the fans.
accept it? But are the fans going to go though?
Depends on the bowl.
Depends on the bowl.
If it's drivable,
See,
a lot
and
of
I'm
fans
not
would
sure.
go.
I'm not sure because my memory's horrible, but I think that we were talking about the bowl games once before, and we were talking about it being like a kind of a negative thing because of these teams
I guess
having
I'm still
this
living
record.
in the past. Whenever the bowl game was the big,
Yes.
that was
We got bowl games where people
the
are
sign
going
of success if
at
you went to a bowl.
500 or
I know.
maybe even under.
Yeah.
That's not really how is
No.
that really a bowl game? Like, I don't see that as a bowl game. No matter what name you put on it, no matter how you
But in
pump
this,
it up.
okay. So I understand. Okay, I went down this dark path, and you guys are making me pay for it. But honestly, I know it's going to take time. But do you ever? I don't care who's at Marshall, who's at WVU. Do you ever see these two teams ever getting a shot at the national football, the collegiate championship in the playoff? Do you ever see them with the way
No.
the system is?
No.
Designed.
No.
With NIL, with
No.
the transfer portal.
No.
With money.
No.
I definitely
Revenue sharing.
No.
I definitely see WVU.
No.
I could see them because
In the major bowl?
in playoffs.
In a playoff.
in the playoff.
Yeah, so I could see Marshall would be a lot difficult just because they're not a non-power 4
Right,
team.
right.
But I can definitely see WVU. Like I said, man, you get 10 players that can go. That turns this around. I mean, far as this year is concerned, it's just WVU has to go to BYU. They have to go to UCF. That's a winnable game. They home at TCU. That's going to be tough. They have to go to Houston. That's going to be tough. Colorado's coming in. Colorado's not great. That's a winnable game. Then you have to go to Arizona. That's tough. And then Texas Tech come to you. Texas Tech is a top 15 team. So it's going
Look
to be
at the travel.
That's
They
tough.
better get
That's
frequent
gonna be
flyer
tough to win
miles for all that
Yeah.
stuff, you know? I mean, my goodness.
I mean, we're talking
they're
about
all over.
4 more games. I don't know.
See,
That's tough.
I don't see. Is it okay to go to a bowl game, a lower tier bowl game, win it or lose it? Does it matter? I mean, do you celebrate that as a WVU?
Yeah, you celebrate it.
Okay,
Yeah. But the thing is,
I'm
the
truly
thing is,
asking because I don't.
But the thing is,
see that
as a coach, and here's the other issue with that, because number one, the thinking previously was that if we go to the bowl game, even though we may not be in a national championship picture, then we're going to get those extra practices in. So you get 2 to maybe 4 weeks extra practice. Now, here's the caveat with that now, because now players they're entering the transfer portal, so they're not playing in that bowl game. So if you know that you're going to some lower level bowl game, a lot, I ain't gonna say most, but a lot of players, sort of the trend is to say, hey, I'm not playing that bowl game. I'm going to enter the transfer portal or enter the league, and I'm just not going to feel fool with it. So to your point, depending on the number of players that choose to leave, it may not be worth it. So that's also another consideration that you have to consider. And my thing is now, I say get rid of the bowl games. If it's not playoffs
or conference championship,
I would be good.
Get rid of the bowl games.
I never would have said that or thought that probably because I'm thinking that's impossible that it would happen, but it does make sense.
Yeah, because the players aren't playing because they're entering the transfer portal. So it's like I'm not going to risk getting hurt for a game that doesn't matter. But, I mean, you got some kids, like some third and second string players that went to the playoffs last year. Their teams went to the playoffs, and they chose to sit out because they entered the transfer portal. So I'm saying get rid of the bowl games. They do not matter.
You think they would do that, though? I mean, the money.
Not money. It's money. But it don't matter but I'm looking
I think it's a sad ending to an era.
Sad. But if I'm a company, I'm looking at the ROI. Dang, I'm dishing out all this cash for this game.
Well,
what am I getting back, though?
Well, the TV, like a lot of people still watch bowl games. We watch. I mean, December when bowl season starts, we watch bowl games all of the whole month.
I can say I didn't as much as I used to because the players don't play.
I want to see the
players don't play.
Most of.
I mean, teams like Marshall would never get to do any. I mean, they're not going to go. These smaller schools, they don't get to go to the national champion, the playoffs. So why not have bowl games for them to enjoy?
And I understand.
Last year was an anomaly with the Huff leaving and taking the team.
I think that's going to be
the standard,
a normal occurrence.
Well, I meant because they won the conference championship.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they would have. If he hadn't left right after that with the whole team, and they hadn't won the conference championship, and they just gone to a lesser bowl, Marshall fans would have been excited.
What about?
I don't know.
What about if, in the age of NIL, you go play the bowl game and the players win a pot of money?
Ooh.
Pay the players. If you're on the winning team, you get money. Why not?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with that, though. That makes sense, and that's probably a good idea. But you still got the transfer portal problem. Yeah. Because now I have to go in December in order to see where I'm going, so I can get signed up for my classes in January.
They
need to push it back.
And the other thing is
the timing issue.
The other thing to that is the school is getting that money.
Right.
You know,
they're not going to give that up,
and they're not going to want to give that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But
I like that. I like that idea.
I would like that idea too. You know, and because at that point, really, honestly, even if you weren't getting NIL money, you're receiving money through winning a bowl game or even participating.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I just think you still have a timing issue.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that, again, if I'm trying to transfer to another school, I have to start that process in December so I can be enrolled by January. It may take a month for me to find a home. And so I think they need to push that process back, and they need to let these kids enroll in February. You'll be all right not going to class for a couple weeks. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
See, but I
in
agree,
this day and age with technology,
I agree with that. But see, I'm thinking, and I'm trying to think this through as a player who's thinking I'm going to leave. Okay, so after our last game, whether it's a bowl game, whatever it's going to be, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in the portal. I'm ready to try to commit to another place. I'm not playing anyway, right? I'm not going to play in any game after our last season game. If we're not, quote, already bowl eligible or in a major bowl place or championship, I'm out.
Yeah, I just don't. I guess my thing is, like, if you're a starter and you've been starting, you've been playing the whole season, you got some tape, you had a pretty good year, and you decide, I want to go to the next school. I just don't know what playing in the bowl does for you anymore. It just doesn't. It can
hurt you more than anything
if you're not
else.
going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, again, to your point, Lisa, I did watch some of the bowls, and it was fun to watch, like, those third string guys get a shot. But at the same time, that's not like the highest quality of football. And with the playoffs, what is it, 12 teams now?
Yeah, they started
that's all
at
that
the
matters
same
now.
time.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to see that. I ain't trying to see nothing else. So I would actually say, if you're going to do a top 25, if we got a top 25, do a 25-team playoff. That's what we got. Eliminate everything else, and same thing for non-power fours. Have their own playoffs.
See, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I think they should.
Now they can play up if they make it, so those teams can play up. You know, if you're a Tulsa, if you're a Marshall, if you're a Boise State, you can play up into the Power 5 playoffs, but you can also, if you don't make it, you play the Power 4, non-Power 4 playoffs. So I say you have 2 sets of playoffs, just like you have Division 2, 3, whatever, and just play it that way. So that way we just eliminate, and you can like first round Tostitos whatever bowl. You know what I'm saying? You can just name the bowl
assign
after
the bowl names to the playoff games.
To the playoff games, yeah. So I just say do it like that.
It's just a big mess. That's what I say. It's a big mess. And what about money games? Do we have time to talk about that while we're talking about money and games? We'll just put it together.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll come right back.
Okay.
All right, cats and kittens, have you heard? The Warrior Diner is back. Step into the classic vibe of one of Charleston's most historic restaurants. Don't miss the daily Blue Plate specials. Breakfast served all day, every day, and free parking. With an outdoor patio covered for the summer, an elegant basement bar, and customizable event space, 1022 Warrior Street offers an experience unlike any other. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit WarriorDiner.com for all the need to know and relive the good times at the Warrior Diner.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Warrior Diner. Comment on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and the queen over there has got some information or a question for us now. Talk to us.
We've talked a little bit on the show before about money games, and so I was kind of curious to see. It's the time of year where they start to release, how much money some of these smaller teams were paid to go and play, as the sacrificial lamb to the larger schools. And so basically, I looked up what money game means because I know some people out there were like, what's a money game? Well, games where a smaller program is paid a significant amount of money to play a larger established program. That's basically what it means because, some people may not realize that. But basically, some of the bigger games and what they were paid, this was really like eye-opening to me. Grambling State went to Ohio State, lost 70-0, but were paid $1 million for one game. Charlotte visited Georgia, and so did Marshall. Okay, Charlotte was paid $1.9 million for their game. Marshall was paid $1.7. That's the kind of money Georgia's playing with. Okay, and then of course Central Michigan was paid $1.5 to go visit Ann Arbor and be Michigan's little toy for a while. But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, basically the money that some of these schools got, that's almost their whole budget.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the case that it's well above their budget, possibly, and it's truly beneficial for them. But now I think they're going to run short out of that because of NIL.
No, Georgia's not running short of money.
Well, no.
No. I mean, if Georgia can afford that,
Michigan's
for 2
not running
games,
short of money.
Oh wow,
not for the football program.
No.
Well, see, I'm thinking in my thoughts, and I might be wrong, but like my question then is, you're going to pay, let's say, Marshall $1 million to come and play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to pay then your NIL budget.
Well, it's different now because I think those are different pots of money.
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
I agree. But how much resources do you think some of these places
Limitless.
Yeah.
Absolutely
He's right.
limitless. They have all the money in like a small country. Like Alabama football has
Georgia football.
They're never running out of money. Tennessee, Alabama,
SEC.
USC, they're not running out of money. Here's the thing that what I think people don't realize, even like to that point where Marshall plays Georgia for one and they get paid 1.7. What we have to analyze is the cost of going to Georgia. Because you still got to put those guys in the hotel. You still got to put those guys on a plane. You still got to feed those guys. You got to bring those guys back. In addition to the human capital, which is some guys can
That's
get
no
hurt.
different than the season teams, though. I mean, they could drive to Georgia, couldn't they?
No, they're not driving. They're
No, they
flying
probably
to Georgia.
won't. They probably
but all
won't.
that stuff comes out of that cost. So that 1.7 may actually turn into $700,000 or $500,000 once you delete the cost. Deion Sanders talked about this, why money games aren't always what they seem. So what I would say is that if I'm a program like Marshall or Ohio University or whoever, if I'm looking for a money game, I'm looking for something right close proximity. So I'm trying to play Ohio State so I can
So
drive
you can
there,
drive.
drive back. That's
Which
about-
they've done
that's
that.
about-
They did that the year before.
100%. That's about a 2-hour drive. I can hit it and hit, come back. So all that 1.7, whatever they're going to pay me, I can keep as much as possible. I ain't trying to get on no plane and go halfway across the country, have that expense, and then come back when I got my revenue is this, but my profit is that. So I think I'm all for money games. I think it's a revenue sharing model. I think they ought to do a bunch of money games to help some of these the lower programs. But I would also, my suggestion would be keep those games in close proximity so you can keep that money.
Coach Pruitt, when I was at
scheduling
State,
sometimes doesn't
I
allow
understand.
that. Yeah,
You're
I mean,
right,
that's a
100%.
problem.
I was at State when I was at State, and Coach Pruitt was at Marshall, and we played Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
That was a quote money game.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, we didn't get, we didn't get anything like that. But the amount that we got, and I don't actually remember the total amount, but it was enough for us to cover all the hotel expenses that we might have
For the season? Yeah.
So it was enough for us to now, any money that we raised, any money that we had budget wise, we didn't have to touch.
Yeah.
And we had to, and if without that game, we may not have been able to actually finish out the whole season with all the funding, with because we were paying fees for some of the students who were full rides. We had to pay that was dollars coming out of our budget.
Sure.
And it didn't cost you anything to go to the game.
Right.
It didn't cost
us
anything.
Right.
So it was all pretty much that
Yeah.
game was all profit. But if you think like Marshall, for example, so they go to Georgia to open up the season, they get the 1.7, and then just this past week they got to go all the way to Louisiana and come all the way back. So it's not like you going down there Saturday morning and coming back Saturday night. You're probably down there Thursday, and all that racks up.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
if
because
you're
Yeah.
talking about those two games, the travel alone, not to say it's 1.7, but it's significant. So,
and you got 80, 90, 100 kids.
Well, the band, you take a lot. Yeah, you take the whole.
I don't think did
Do they
take
not
the
take the band?
Not to
I don't think so.
not a school like
Okay.
Marshall. They're not
No.
taking the
Yeah.
band everywhere.
You got
Probably take the
hotels,
cheerleaders maybe.
Right.
hotels. You got meals.
Yeah, significant.
And you probably will get a practice. You'll probably have to pay for a place to get a walkthrough practice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like if you're going to take those games, depending on where the game is, I would try to negotiate not only just that 1.7, but I want like travel expenses. Like
Maybe
help
they
me
do
out
that.
with that.
Yeah, maybe it's
maybe
in there.
that,
Maybe
maybe they
a
do.
possibility. I mean,
I know when
that's an
Deion,
incentive.
I've never heard anybody getting detailed about it. And
Right.
when Deion, when he was at Jackson State, he got detailed about it. He was like, man, we ain't really making that much off these money games because we got to pay for everything. So to me, I think it's well worth it. It just depends on the proximity to where that money game is.
see, and I think that a lot of the average fan does not think about the expenses that come with a sport, and specifically football. because you got trainers, you've got equipment people,
Right.
You got to bring all this extra stuff.
And just, this is just as a reality. These are needed.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, these are not-
necessary
yes.
evil. You've got to
Necessary
go,
evil,
and
for
you've
sure.
got to go get beat, and you walk off with your check and say thanks a lot.
And to add insult to injury, the football team's going down there taking that whooping, and that whatever the profit is from that check that they just received is dispersed among the Olympic sports.
Yeah,
Great,
It
thanks,
is.
guys.
Yeah,
So they get a little
it goes
taste
in
of
the
that
school's
too.
general fund.
Ain't that
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
So you don't even keep 100% of that.
No.
So that's what Coach Prime was saying was like this ain't everything that you think it is. Just taking this big. I just think
It looks bigger.
It looks bigger than what it
than
is.
what it is,
Once you
than what
start
you're
to,
getting.
But they have to
subtract
do
everything.
it. Without that money, I don't know how they would
Yeah,
survive.
you have to.
Yeah.
But my thing is,
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, I would say
Try to make it the-
close proximity.
Yeah.
I don't think, and Hollis, I'm curious of what you think to this. I don't think there's a college football program, maybe with the exception of UC, maybe, that wouldn't play a money game in the state. Somewhere.
Yeah, all of them. Except for, WVU obviously they are the money game for some
people,
Robert,
but
they
they
played Robert Morris earlier.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
WVU had two
So
money
they
games.
paid out.
They paid out.
They paid out.
So, but to your point, you got to.
Yeah.
Just
And that's an argument why, Marshall and WVU don't play. They play teams like, Robert Morris, and they play teams like Ohio University. Marshall could be that would be beneficial for
keep
both
the money in the
schools.
state. They should play.
Exactly.
100%.
That's what I'm thinking.
I would be all for them playing.
I don't like it, but I think it's a valuable game for both
Yeah.
schools and the fans.
I think that every person who's a football fan is trying to get to that game. I don't care who your
Right.
I don't care
It'll-
who your
it's a
team
sellout.
is.
It-
It's
whether
going to
it's-
sell out
no
every
matter where you
single
play it
time
in the state, right?
And you're going to make tons of money.
Yeah.
And I don't even care
a
if we
no-brainer.
have to play that game in Morgantown every year because the stadium.
Yeah, it's a
Because
short
We're
drive.
going to Georgia. Why not go to WVU? I'm with you.
Yeah.
Some of those fans that in Huntington are like, oh, we want 2 for 1, 3 for 1. No, until you beat them, you have nothing to try to negotiate with. You just go to Morgantown,
play.
and
Yeah,
if you
I
win,
like it.
maybe then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I don't really think that you can. You can ask them to come to Huntington. I don't see why they would come.
Nah, you just played in
Because-
They have
because-
before, but it was
you just played in Morgantown.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a simple fix.
it's a simple
Just
thing,
go.
and
Just play
it's a better
That
it's a
should
better
be-
venue.
That should be the opener every season.
exactly.
I was at one of the last times when WVU came down and played at Marshall, and it was like 43,000 people in the Joan, which is technically only seats like 39.
Exactly.
There were
No, it
people
was
sitting in
crazy.
the aisles. It was standing room only. It was a lot of people.
It was almost like when WVU went to Ohio University. I mean,
Yeah.
it was basically that. It was
Yeah.
that crowd.
Play the game.
Crowded.
Quit all the other stuff.
But
But
and everybody, every sports fan is looking for that game.
yeah, it's the same thing like WVU in Marshall. They used to come to the Civic Center in Charleston and play. Play
Yeah.
the
Capital
game,
City
man.
Classic.
Play
Yeah,
the
that-
game.
Yeah.
that
Like, what are you
That was a
doing?
lot of fun.
Y'all
Basketball.
overthink it every time. Just play the game. They have a soccer rivalry now, baseball
they do.
rivalry.
Uh-huh.
Play the game.
What is the do any of you all know what is the reasoning that it's not being played now?
Well,
has
the
there been
thought-
a conversation
the
about
thought-
Basketball or football?
football?
The thought is what I've always heard. Number one, it didn't make sense for WVU, and it was a situation in which why would you have an empty stadium with two D1 schools in a state with only two D1 schools where you can have two full stadiums if they played different teams. So to me, it was always from like the WVU side. They just had more to lose playing that game than Marshall. That's what I heard. I don't know anything.
And I think the
specific, though.
Marshall fans on the other side of the coin, they wanted the deals where they come to Huntington at least like once out of every 3 years, or you know.
I can see that, but I can see that. But
They've
I
never
wouldn't have
won
to.
a game
I
against
was gonna say,
WVU.
I would-
Until you win, you have nothing to negotiate with. End of story. Go to Morgantown. Get your check.
I get it. I'm 100% agree with you, but I'm just saying I could see why Marshall would say, okay, every 2 years, every 5 years,
I
play
I
a
can see
game.
that.
I could see that just as a negotiation
But I also think, man, like we're like we just said, man, we're in a day and age where rivalries are gone. When you're WVU and you're playing like the Utahs, the BYUs, nobody really cares about those rivalry games.
What was that sound?
Yeah, nobody. I mean, saying we want WVU to win, no doubt, and they may even have some good, exciting teams. But there's nothing really for the fans other than seeing WVU win. I think this is just an opportunity
because there's nothing better.
You get Pitt back on the schedule full time. You get Marshall on the schedule full time. Even take like a Virginia Tech. Get them 3 games and let's go. There
is nothing better than a rival game.
No,
there's
and
nothing better.
And the Big 12, when they joined the Big 12, it's been kind of diluted since then because Texas left. Who else left the Big 12? I know somebody else left.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Those were kind of exciting games because Texas is always good.
Yeah.
Texas A&M's fun too, but it's not like it was.
But speaking of rivalries, I think we have a budding rivalry in the NFL: Packers versus Cowboys. With Michael Parsons going, and there was a tie. So, like we talked about it earlier, how do we feel about the current NFL system when it comes to overtime and different things of that nature?
Somebody needs to win.
Period.
Period.
That's how I look at it.
I don't care.
I want to be able to walk out of the stadium and know that I won or I lost.
And currently, how the rules? You can correct me if I'm wrong. You get basically 2 overtimes, and if nobody comes ahead in those 2 overtimes, it's game over.
Yeah,
correct.
And it's a tie.
I thought it was 1 overtime.
It's 2.
Two. 10 minutes in each, right? 10 minutes.
Each.
Okay, sorry.
And there's no sudden death. Back in the day, it used to be whoever win the coin toss first, and whoever scored first basically won, except for a field goal. So if you kick the field goal, then the other team would get an opportunity to match it or get the touchdown. So I think I would like to say I'll let you say. You said what would be your rule change to that?
My rule would be, I just want to go out or you play the game. I'm okay with if you score, but I don't want a field goal. If you can score a touchdown, if you can drive, if you can take a drive, 80-yard drive, score a touchdown, boom.
See, I say you keep the 2 overtimes. Nobody wins in overtime. The 2 overtimes, then you go to sudden death after that.
Yeah.
That's what that would
so
be.
are you just saying just a regular game, just like it's a regular quarter?
You get the 2 10-minute quarters. So after the game's done, tied up, you get 1 quarter.
Like last night, they would have gone
2
into
10-minute quarters.
sudden death.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
After that.
2 10-minute quarters. If we're still tied at that point, then you go to sudden death. You do the foreign clause. I would say even get rid of the kickoff. Forget the kickoff. Just start at your 20 going in.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? So get rid of the kickoff.
It wouldn't take that much time.
Yeah, I mean you're not starting at third. You're starting at your 20. So you got to drive 80.
Yeah, 80.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say just do that. And then if you win from there, you won. You know what I mean?
I'm good with anything that can get you away from the tie because you just can't. You done played all day, and you're gonna walk out of a stadium and say, "Oh, well, we tied." And where does that fit at the end of the year?
Well, at the end of the year, that's
going to work against you.
Well, on tie games, you know how they have a point system when it comes to the playoffs. Yeah. Tie games count as a half win and a half loss.
Wow.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
I mean, I guess that could make a point, half a point could make a difference when you're tied with somebody.
Sure.
Which is gross. I mean, that's just all of it.
Well, what's the argument against it, though? Because the argument against, number one, as far as sudden death or having too much football is obviously guys can get hurt. But the argument, too, is that even if I have to drive 80 in a sudden death, really, with kickers now, you may only have to drive like 40.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because kickers can boot it once you get to the 50.
It's true.
So it's like, but again, to your point, that's part of the game. I mean, you play defense, you got to stop them. So I say I still want the sudden death.
Yeah, I think that's a good system.
Why not just do it like basketball? You give them the 10 minutes and you just let them play, and whoever's got more points at the end of 10 minutes is the winner.
But that's the point. What if you don't? What if you're still tied up?
They were tied last night, I think,
after
right?
both the 10-minute period.
Yes.
Play the whole 10 minutes and then do a sudden death or something like that.
So you saying 1 10-minute?
10 minutes.
I like it.
But
that's not bad neither.
Yeah, because now it's like you're giving each team a possession, all that stuff. Just play the 10.
Flip the coin. Whoever gets it, and you play your 10.
Yeah.
And you see what happens.
I mean, one team might score in the first minute, and then the other team's got 9 minutes. They may take up all 9. maybe they'll go score in a couple of minutes, and it goes back and just play the whole 10. Play it like a quarter.
Like another quarter.
Yeah.
Now,
so currently they don't play it like another. It's like you get okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's just a quarter.
So you're just saying
just play an extra quarter basically, 10-minute quarter.
Well, whether it's a 10, yeah,
I got
you. No matter what happens, play the 10.
Yeah.
Let the coins fall where they may. Well, last night was horrible, and I'm so glad I went to bed. I'm so glad because at my house, my husband's a Cowboys fan.
Oh man!
And I'm a Packer fan, and it's not the most comfortable evening to be at the Nelson.
But it's
household.
crazy how that's turned into like a little rivalry now, like just based off of one trade. You know, so I loved it, man. The NFL has been super good.
It has been good.
It's been super good. The Chiefs beat the Ravens. Ravens have been very disappointed.
The Ravens are
they're
falling apart.
And it's crazy because when you have like such elite offensive
they needed
players,
Shador.
No, they need Lawrence Taylor. They need Carl Lee back here. That defense is the worst.
Yeah.
That defense can't stop a nosebleed. I mean, it is bad, and they've been known for their defense. And when you have such elite offensive talent and your defense can't do nothing, it's just demoralizing.
Trust me, I have fortunately been on some really, really good defensive teams that had a ton of great players on it, and we struggled with the offense.
Yeah.
You're out there, you're playing hard, you feel good, you're high-fiving each other, you go to the bench, 2 minutes later, you're back on the field because somebody they throw an interception, fumble the ball, or go 3 plays and out, and you're back on the field. You're like, okay, come on, guys, let's just go. You can only do that for so long.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember being at State, and we had most of the time we had better defense than offense. But I can remember a season where offense was clearly better. And you go out there, you score 28, 30 points.
Points that you should win.
Points you should win by, and they just give it up.
Speaking of State, I'm going to bring something up because we have a man of honor among us tonight, don't we, Carl?
Yes, we do.
We do. We have Mr. Lewis. Didn't want to say anything, but he was the recipient of the Young Professional Achievement Award.
I'm questioning the young. I'm questioning the young.
Young-ish.
That part is a little concerning. I agree.
Young-ish.
But yeah, so that's a pretty prestigious award. Tell us a little bit about it.
It's I mean, you know, to be recognized by your alma mater and that journey going to State, you know what I'm saying? I was a local kid, so going to State and just like I told you, just being part of that village and having the opportunity to like just having the world sort of open up to you via the collegiate experience was a great thing. And it really contributed to everything that I'm doing now. And, you know, I think it's worth noting that, you know, that's to me, that's sort of the true value of college. When we talk about that collegiate experience, academics are one thing. And I think just as far as providing access, online schools and different things, the academics are there, but the true value in a collegiate experience is having that, you know, that education that you can't get into a classroom, right?
Right.
That education that you get, you know, whether it's, you know, having mentors like Coach Lee or a variety of other people, and, you know, like I said, just meeting people from around the country and just being exposed,
right?
You know,
but there's, you know, and I can thank you for the words that you spoke about me. At the event, and I'm gonna address that in a different way. When you're a coach and you realize that there is somebody that when you come in touch with them, like you realize that there's something better for them than what the ball's going to bring. Mm-hmm. And that was clear with Hollis from the time that I met him. He got out on the field, he was a good quarterback, but everything about him spoke to me success.
Right.
And he was so different than most players from a mannerisms, personality kind of way that you could see. I felt like football was something that I think he enjoyed, but he wasn't ate up with it. Most guys like
you knew
me,
he was meant for more.
There was something else. There was something bigger
Who's
for him.
Who's cutting onions in here, Matt? I'm getting a little misty-eyed over here listening to all this emotional talk.
He was just simply he was different. He played football because he played football in high school.
Right.
And he was good enough to earn a scholarship. He was good enough to play. But all of his focus was on a greatness that did not have the ball involved with it. Mm-hmm. And you could see it, and then to be able to be front and center and witness him receiving that award was an honor for me. And I could even make the case that I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked. I feel like if that award has been out there for a while, I'm trying to figure out why he hadn't gotten it already.
What took you so long?
That. So just to say this, and for the people who are listening, and for the people who may not know Hollis personally, when you find a young man that has a goal and has a mindset of wanting to be something different, something better, and do better for other people, that is who he is. Mm-hmm. To me, that's who he is, and that's who he's always been.
No lies detected.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Now, next Monday.
Next Monday, we're all fired again.
He'll be fired by next Monday. So, all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here, and we will see you again next week.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Quarrier Diner. Comment on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topic on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service, and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.